A beekeeper unleashed a swarm of bees on police during a traffic stop. North Korea is opening a beach resort as they try to increase tourism. And swarms of tiny nose robots might clear your infected sinus in the future. These are the weird stories for Thursday on Weird AF News, the only daily weird news podcast in the galaxy. I'm Jonesy, the host. I have 3 weird stories for you. Come on, let's jump. A beekeeper was pulled over by the police, and during the traffic stop, the beekeeper unleashed a swarm of bees. Release the bees! This story's out of Spain. A routine seatbelt stop turned into an insect ambush when a 70-year-old beekeeper in Cervera, Spain, sicked his bees onto 2 traffic officers during the stop. We have here a specialized evil villain, Bee Man. Bzzz. I know you're probably wondering, is this real? Did this really happen? Or is this some sort of promo for an upcoming Marvel movie that we don't know about? This incident occurred Friday at 1 p.m. along North 11 Highway in Cervera, Spain. Police say they pulled over a van for erratic driving, and they noticed that the man behind the wheel wasn't wearing a seatbelt. What they didn't expect was for the driver to respond with, quote, "I should have just run you over." The man then refused a breathalyzer test and threatened to kill the traffic police. And then came the bees. Bzzz. According to multiple sources, the man walked calmly to the back of his van, opened the door, bzzz, and released a swarm of honeybees directly at the officers. The insects attacked the police immediately, stinging both cops and forcing them to seek shelter in a nearby restaurant. They didn't run and jump into the nearby pond. That's how they do it on the Looney Tune cartoons. That's what I learned by watching Looney Tunes. If the bees are chasing you, you jump into a lake, and then you take a straw and you poke it through the surface of the water so you can keep breathing while you're remaining protected underneath the water. They probably didn't have a straw on them because they didn't foresee this coming. When's the last time someone sicked bees on police before? Although I heard a story several years ago about a woman in Massachusetts that sicked bees on some officers that were trying to evict her from her home. She lived in an actual home, not a beehive, for the record. Okay, so this story in Spain, let's get back to it. The officers were stung by the bees, and they ran to a nearby restaurant. Patrons in the restaurant reportedly stepped in to help them, guiding the police to safety while the bees buzzed around the entrance to the restaurant. The man fled the scene himself, the beekeeper, but he didn't get very far. The police tracked him down shortly after, arrested him, and took his statement. He was then released on bail a few hours later, and the police were taken to an urgent care center and treated with cortisone for their bee stings. Nobody else was injured, thankfully. Just a heads up, the bee man is still out there on bail, so just be prepared for maybe some sort of other bee-related crimes going on. Can you rob a bank with bees? Just slip a note. You walk in with a giant duffel bag. I have bees in here, 2 hives. Please hand over thousands of dollars, or I will unleash the bees upon your person. The article says this bizarre bee assault comes at a tense time for Catalonia's police force. In May, over 300 officers rallied to protest what they call an epidemic of violence against the local police. They claim that in just the first month of 2024, there were over 200 assaults. For all of last year, the number hit 2,550. So people are just wantonly attacking the police, it would seem. Maybe the police should carry some bees. The interior minister of this particular area said her plans to strengthen legal protections for officers are moving forward very swiftly. So far, there's no official word on what happened to the bees. Yeah, can we get some word on the bees? I'd imagine some of them have perished, sadly. Did they find a new home? It says, but if anyone's looking for the wildest use of a natural weapon this year, this might be it. Well, I think Florida has a few things to say about that. People are just throwing alligators at fast food employees, and it's pretty effective. North Korea is set to open its largest tourist site next week, and it is a beach resort, apparently. This is one way to finance a dictatorship. I don't think I'll be visiting the North Korean beach resort just yet. I want to wait for the reviews to come out. It says North Korea will open a signature coastal tourist site that it says will usher in a new era in its tourism industry. Do they have a beefy tourism industry in North Korea? I'd imagine they don't. I don't know, though. I don't know. Maybe they have a very successful advertising campaign. Come for the sun, sand, and sweet national haircut, and stay for the, well, stay because you're now in a labor camp and you can't go home. So sorry. Now, the article says there's no word yet on when the country will fully open their resort to foreign visitors at the Wonsan Kalma Coastal Tourist Zone. There are hotels and other accommodations for nearly 20,000 guests who can swim in the ocean, engage in sports and recreation activities, and eat at glorious restaurants and cafes on site. Oh, this sounds like a feel-good time. Enjoy some surf and turf on the beach, served up by employees that live on a diet of wood chips. I'm sure it's going to be amazing. The North Korean leader Kim Jong-un just toured the site and cut the inaugural tape at a lavish ceremony on Tuesday. Kim said its construction would be recorded as one of the greatest successes this year, and he called the tourist site the proud first step toward realizing the government's policy of developing tourism. So come on over and visit the country that invented the burrito, the jacuzzi, and doo-wop music. You guys know that Kim Jong-un and his family claim they invented the burrito and other things. And you can spread such propaganda when you don't allow your citizens to have any sort of touch with the outside world. It says here the Wonsan Kalma Beach Resort is North Korea's biggest tourist site. And they say North Korea will begin service for domestic tourists next week. It didn't say when North Korea will start receiving foreign tourists, but Russian officials said later Thursday that the first Russian tour to the site will happen in July. Nice that you're opening it up to Russians to begin. That's going to go well, considering every time I've met a Russian tourist, they're completely wasted and they want to fight me. Observers claim that the resort likely required a huge investment from North Korea's limited tourist budget, so it eventually will have to accept Chinese and other foreign tourists in order to break even. Kim has been pushing to make North Korea a tourism hub as part of efforts to revive their ailing economy, and this new resort is one of his most talked about tourism projects. But North Korea hasn't fully lifted a ban on foreign tourists that it imposed in early 2020 to guard against the COVID-19 pandemic. Well, that's going to be a barrier to success, I would imagine. Experts say North Korea has been slow to resume its international tourism because of remaining pandemic curbs, a flare-up of tensions with the U.S. and South Korea in recent years, and concerns about Western tourists spreading a negative image of its system. Oh, I don't know why that would be negative image. I mean, it's only a dystopia. Hey, just FYI, you guys can take a normal vacation at a more normal country slightly. It's just right on the other side of that fence. Just a travel tip. Now, it says since February, North Korea has already been accepting Russian tourists to other areas amid the booming military and other partnerships between the two countries. But Chinese group tours, which made up more than 90% of visitors before the pandemic, remain completely stalled. Recently, a small group of international tourists visited North Korea for the first time in 5 years, but tourist agencies said that their tours to North Korea have been paused. Kim's recent foreign policy prioritizes relations with Russia, as he's been supplying troops and conventional weapons to support its war against Ukraine in return for economic and military assistance, etc., etc. You don't want to hear the rest of this. The tourism board says that South Korean and American tours to North Korea won't likely restart anytime soon, though both new liberal South Korean President Lee Jae-myung and U.S. President Donald Trump have expressed hopes to revive dialogue with North Korea. Can we have a dialogue? In January, Donald Trump boasted about his relations with Kim, said, quote, "I think he has tremendous condo capabilities. He's got a lot of shoreline. Yeah. No doubt Donnie is eyeing some sort of property to open another golf resort. Anyways, how about it? You guys down and visit North Korea? Just go to a place that only allows you to take photos at approved locations. Good times. Although, I mean, I can't talk. I live in the U.S., probably not a very good place to vacation right now, considering that as a foreigner, you probably have a 1 in 10 chance that you're going to be sent to some prison in El Salvador against your will.
You know that feeling when someone shows up for you just when you need it most? That's what Uber is all about. Not just a ride, dinner at your door. It's how Uber helps you show up for the moments that matter. Because showing up can turn a tough day around, or make a good one even better. Whatever it is, big or small, Uber is on the way, so you can be on yours. Uber, on our way.
Scientists say that swarms of tiny nose robots could someday clear your infected sinuses. It's the sound of science. Boop, 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 science. Let's learn about tiny nose robots, also known as snot bots or robo boogers. You call it what you want. Researchers say that swarms of tiny robots, each no larger than a speck of dust, could be deployed to cure your stubborn infected sinuses before just simply being blown out through your nose into a tissue. Oh boy, sounds like a good time. Just injecting a swarm of little robotic nose goblins up your hooter. What could possibly go wrong? Little bots burying inside your skull. I mean, it sounds like a good time. Where do I sign up for this? It says these microbots are a fraction of the width of a human hair and have been inserted successfully into animal sinuses in preclinical trials by researchers at universities in China and Hong Kong. The robots are injected into the sinus cavity via a duct threaded through the nostril and guided to their target by electromagnetism. They just hone in on the boogers. The boogers are in our sights. Pew, pew, pew. What do they just laser your snots away? No, they don't use lasers. Their tactics are they heat up and they catalyze chemical reactions within your nose to wipe out bacterial infections. There are hopes that the precisely targeted robotic technology could eventually reduce reliance on certain antibiotics and other generalized sinus medications. Yeah, no thanks. I think I'm going to stick to the old, timeless, reliable method used by our early ancestors, the chimpanzees, and that is shoving a finger up my nose when I need to get it in order. And if I happen to be outdoors, I'll sometimes resort to the wonderful method called the snot rocket. I got some snot rocket skills, man. Maybe I'll make a video of it and share it on the Patreon. But yeah, I'm like a snot rocket pro. Not trying to brag. I do enjoy a good neti pot here and there, especially after a night of putting substances up my nose. All right, we're not going to go there, okay? You could use your imagination. I digest. Let's get back to the article that says the tiny devices like this are part of the expanding field of micro and nano robots that are going to be used in medicine in our future. They've also been developed to deliver drugs and to remove bacteria from medical implants, such as stents and hernia meshes. Experts believe that these internal nanobots could at some point be used for treating infections in bladders, intestines, and sinuses in 5 to 10 years. They actually think they can develop sophisticated versions of these robots capable of moving through your bloodstream. Oh my goodness. Well, that sounds like it's going to complicate metal detectors going forward. I'm going to be denied access to a flight because I got some nano robots inside me. They're going to be like, hey, we've sensed some metal down near your groin area. I'm like, oh yeah, that's just my gonorrhea bot going to work. Now, researchers say there are some risks to this, including the tiny little robots being left behind after the treatment, just stuck inside your body, waiting there for someone to hack it so that it can be programmed to eat your brain. But don't worry about that. They'll figure it out. It says another potential problem cited by technology experts is public suspicion at the thought of welcoming robots into the human body and conspiracy theories arising around fears that the robots could be activated without consent. Yeah, I mean, well, you can't kowtow to conspiracy theorists when you're making, technologies. I mean, conspiracy theorists are going to conspiracy theorize no matter what. They already think that chemtrails are controlling our brain. What do you think they're going to think of a robot being in your bloodstream? Now, the article has some real details on how this all went down, but basically they showed that the robots were capable of eradicating bacteria from pig sinuses and could clear infections in live rabbits with no obvious tissue damage. The researchers have produced a model of how the technology could work on human beings, with the robot swarms being deployed in operating theater conditions, allowing doctors to see their progress by using x-rays. Further applications could include tackling bacterial infections of the respiratory tract, stomach, intestine, bladder, and the urethra, which is a word I just love to say, urethra. Say it with me, guys, on 3. 1, 2, 3, urethra. Isn't that good? I'm going to go out on a limb and say I don't want a tiny robot traveling down my urethra. I mean, unless it feels good, and then, I'll take a swarm of urethra bots, please. Maybe this could be the future of erectile dysfunction. They just stick some robots in there, and then they just go gadget lengthen. I'm just speculating here. Well, I guess time will tell if we accept nanobots as part of medical solutions. Imagine that you have choices now. Your doctor's like, at some point in the future, your doctor could be like, okay, well, you can take this pill, or you could take these tiny Terminators and shove them up your butt. But robots.
Test, check 1, 2. You know you need unique New York. You know you need unique New York. Does that sound all right? Ah, that's better. You can always tell something's missing when you get isolated results. Like AI that's only right for one of your systems. Get AI that can work across your data and applications. Learn more at IBM.com. The AI built for business. IBM.
Let's rock.
Hello, my friends and loyal listeners of the Weird AF News Podcast, the only daily weird news podcast in existence. I appreciate you tuning in. Tuning in? Do people still say that? That's an old school phrase back when we all had radios. Do you guys remember radios? Oh, yeah. No, we don't, Jonesy. What is a radio? Oh, that's an old device we used to use to listen to commercials. A lot of fun. I got a lovely review from someone named Tarang Mogra, and I hope I pronounced this name correctly. Tarang Mogra, 5 stars on Amazon. Isn't that sweet? How generous of Tarang to give me 5 stars. The title is Hello from Singapore. Oh, we have a Singaporean. Thanks for the review, la. I've been to Singapore a couple of times. Good times. Hello from Singapore. Your daily dose of weirdness is hilarious and witty. And the 25-minute duration of this podcast is perfect for my morning drive to work after dropping off the kids to school. Oh my goodness, Tarang has a car in Singapore? Must be wealthy. Love how you give a positive twist to silly things, Jonesy. This beats listening to the constant barrage of all the crappy stuff that's happening in the world right now. Have you been to Singapore? There's a lot of weird that happens in this part of the world as well. Hope to see you come over in some more global stories. Thanks for the laughs. Thanks for the laughs. Cheers, Tarang. Shout out to Tarang, listening from Singapore. Appreciate that. So sweet review from Tarang in Singapore. Thank you so much. I didn't know I had any listeners in Singapore, but, people speak English over there, so it makes sense. But, yes, to answer your question, been to Singapore. Had a wonderful time. Was even there for Chinese New Year one year, and it was a blast. Appreciate the review. If you guys want to leave a review, you can do so at Amazon and Apple Podcasts as well. There's other platforms that you can leave reviews on. Spotify, for instance, you can write a review of an individual episode, which that takes a lot of work. What I'd rather you do if you're listening on Spotify is just click on the stars. It's like you can give it 5 stars, and that takes just a second. So that would really be helpful. Just click on the stars if you're listening on Spotify. And tell a friend about the podcast if you love it. So anyways, heads up. Tomorrow, Florida Friday. We're only going to be doing weird news from Florida. If you're new to the show, it's a 5-day-a-week weird news podcast. But on Friday, I only do weird news from the state of Florida. It's called Florida Friday. So send me weird news from Florida from this week, please. My email's funnyjones@gmail.com. Or you can slide them into my DMs on Instagram at funnyjones as well. Tonight, Thursday, I have a show in downtown LA at the Upstairs Lounge. It's a new comedy club that's owned by a friend of mine. It's wonderful. And it's new, trying to get it off the ground, so please come to the show tonight. The information is on my Instagram at funnyjones. Tomorrow, Friday, I'm in Lancaster, California. And if you happen to be out there, I'm so sorry. I'm kidding. I love Lancaster, not really. Anyways, those are the shows upcoming if you'd like to see me do stand-up comedy, something I'm pretty good at. Lastly, if you'd like to support the show because you're in the stock market and it's doing well, I don't know. You can go to my website, weirdafnews.com, and you can buy me a coffee or join the Patreon. That's the way to do it. Anyways, I won't keep you any longer. We'll see you tomorrow for another episode of Weird AF News, Florida Man style.